Hello, everyone. This is going to be a short one because we don't have much to show as new features this week. But we're working on internal improvements, which are going to be improve reliability, performance, and are going to lay the foundations for be able to remove tech debt in the future. Myself, I've worked last week on some bug fixes, but mostly improving to caches. One of the big changes that I've been working on is being able to cache relative imports locally. So for some users that are using relative imports a lot, especially in Python, the problem is that every time they were executing the script, we were loading that dependency. We were fetching that script with an API call, which was making a DB call. And if you're running millions and millions of those, that's millions and millions of unnecessary DB call, especially if you're running the same script over and over. It's not an easy thing to cache because basically, when you're doing that, you need to cache the latest version of it. So we have a complex system internally to track changes and to track the importer and everything. But we've been able to finally to put all the pieces together to leverage that to make caches correct with respect to all the constraints. So yeah, this is mostly what I've been working on. I have a few other minor things to work on. And hopefully next week I'm going to be able to devote myself to things that have been delayed for the last 4 or 5 months, which is raw apps. And I think maybe I can leave the mic to Farad, which have some exciting changes to showcase about AI agents.
Yes, sure. Let me share my screen. Can you see? Yeah, so as you might know, last week Hugo introduced AI agent to flows. So this week I made mainly some improvements to it. The first thing is now you can choose any provider, whereas before it was only OpenAI and Anthropic. Prepared a little demo. Here I will use OpenRouter, for example. You will use the Sony model. And here it's a little flow that classifies the mail you receive. So normally you would have a trigger, but on this one it's just subject and content. So I have a system prompt that tells it to tag the mail and add a brief summary for each mail. And I'm using the second improvement I made, which is now you can specify the fields you want on your output schema. So here I have two fields, tag and summary. And yeah, let's test. Yeah, for example, this one, an enthusiastic user. Yeah, as you can see, it outputs tag and sale. So yeah, tag and summary. So here I'm using the AI agent step output, as you can see here, to just return the tag and the summary. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So you can use it for more complex stuff. This is a basic demo, but I think you get the idea. And yeah, that's it for me. I don't know if anyone, Dieriba, maybe you want to go next?
Okay. So you can see my screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so I was working on small features that I could not show the last week. And the first one is the ability to now have Flow have the ability to retry, but now you can use a conditional retry. So depending on the result of any steps, you can decide to whether to retry or not the flow. So for example, here, if the flow throw an error, which has a field name status and has the value field that we're going to retry like 3 times. So I'm just going to run the flow and like say nothing. If I said okay, it won't because of the how the flow is done. But if I put anything else like okay, it's going to retry like 3 times. So now it allows you to retry the flow if depending of the result of any steps or any steps. So this is for the first one. And the second one is for dynamic select, which allows you before to have a select that will give you result based on a function. And you can have the same, but you with dynamic select, so you can choose multiple results. And it works the same as the dynamic select. You put the type, the function, and it will give you back you have to give it back in this format so you can retrieve the value and like I'm going to run it and the value is here and the undefined is because of the which I did not select, so I'm just going to select it so you can see it. The value is 2, so it's okay. And for the last one is the time, which is not merged yet but would be soon, allows you to this time to have expression to timeout, so you can ask for conditional retry, choose a step of any result to like put a specific logic or choose a input for the timeout value. For example, here I'm linking it to the input step, the timeout value. So I'm going to like put 5 seconds. And now, because the steps doing infinite loop, so it's timeout 5 seconds after. Yeah, that's all.
Cool, very cool. Those were long-awaited features. Unless anyone else has anything to show, I think Diego, I can just mention briefly that we've merged the direct proxy to S3, so that now DuckDB will actually use an internal S3 proxy when sending data back and forth to S3. And yeah, I think that's it. Unless I forgot anything. Oh, great. Then have a great weekend, and see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.